How impressed were you with Mitch Stark cleaning up the tail both innings?
Yeah, he's come to expect that these days, don't you? I thought he bowled really well with the new ball as well. Hit some really good lengths, found a bit of swing, so the pace looked up there throughout the whole game. So yeah, he looks fit and firing.
Pretty hard call for selectors with both him and Pete there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's where we want to get to as a squad, I think. Have those 6 quicks all firing. Even Michael Nessa bowling really well this game as well. Keeps pressure on you as a player in the team, and it's always good, healthy competition.
Last test looked as good as you've ever bowled in England. I don't know if you'd agree with that assessment. Were you doing anything differently, and does it feel like you're bowling well?
It certainly feels like I'm bowling well. Yeah, I think ever since I bowled at Worcester a few weeks back now, I took that into Lords and then into Headingley. So I think I'm just not trying to do too much. Trying to be pretty simple. Not trying to swing the ball at all, really. Occasionally I do when it gets a bit older, but just hitting that right length with the new ball, making them play. Yeah, not trying to do too much. Keep it simple.
That's kind of the game plan, isn't it, this tour, like for everybody?
Yeah, certainly. Drive that scoreboard up, build pressure with maidens, making them play on the front foot. Not trying to do too much, I think, as a whole group.
Josh, how do you rationalise, I suppose, the quality of the bowling collectively and individually for the vast majority of that test match and then that last hour? Have you sort of put them in 2 separate boxes, or how have you looked at it?
I think we just looked at, obviously on the whole, a very good performance from our bowling group. We got beaten by a hell of a play there at the end. We've certainly talked about that, what we could have done differently with fields and different bowling, and more of a one-day game there at the end. So different ways to get maybe Leach on strike, a few more deliveries here and there, and we'll hopefully do it a bit better next time.
Tim talked about perhaps, with the field so far flung, maybe he could have talked to you guys a little bit more, between overs and between balls about what you were doing each ball. Was that part of it, communication in that sort of pressure moment?
Yeah, definitely. I think it can move pretty quickly, or feel like it's moving pretty quickly in those situations. Crowd's quite loud as well. It's hard to hear people. We certainly could have probably taken our time a little bit more and as you said, communicate a little bit differently or a little bit better with the field and with the skipper and with the bowlers. So I thought we stayed pretty calm throughout it. We probably just, things happened pretty quickly there at certain stages. So good learning experience and hopefully better off for it.
No changes to their batting top order in their squad. Do you feel like you've got some good plans to their guys and have a bit of a mental hold on some?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're all quality players, so we've got to be wary of, especially what we saw with Stokesy a few times and even Johnny at certain times. So there's some class players there, and as you said, they've gone and trusted them, the same 6 or 7 players. So we've got some good plans in place and hopefully keep executing them, definitely.
There that you think, like Josh Butler obviously struggling for runs, is there guys that you think you can get in their heads a bit?
He's a pretty experienced player now, Josh. You're going to have your lean trots, but I think he's another danger batting with the tail, especially. It sort of forces him to play into one-day mode and can be very dangerous, a bit like Stokes and Bairstow as well. So we're going to be wary of that and try and stay on top of him.
What about Jason Roy? So just with the batting order, Jason Roy, it sounds like there's a bit of talk he might be shuffled down. Is that, if that does happen, is that a bit of a moral win for you guys that, clearly plan A was for him to open and they've changed it?
I think, whenever the other team's changing plans, means you're doing something right. But whoever's at the top or whatever the order, it's the same plans. What we've talked about before, keeping it simple, patient, disciplined. So no matter where they're batting.
How are you feeling physically, and if given the chance after this break, do you reckon you could play the final 2 test matches back to back?
Certainly. The body's feeling really good. I feel a lot better, I guess, at Headingley than Lords. Just getting that miles in the legs that first test. So I can't see why not, unless we bowl them out in the overs next game. But body's feeling really good, and happy to play both if possible.
Your battle with Joe Root, you seem to be really enjoying it. Both of you seem to be enjoying it. You got him out early, and even the last inning when he did get runs. So what's that been? Do you think you have the wood on him?
I wouldn't say that at all. No, I certainly enjoy bowling to anyone, but I think sometimes the best players bring the best out in you. I certainly feel in the game early against him, that's for sure, and I think he's obviously key for them, being the captain and the best batter in their team. If we can keep getting him cheaply, it puts pressure on the rest of their order. So it is nice to get in that little battle, and he got a few runs in the second innings, which is good for him. But I'm pretty happy with where the plans are at and executing them.
And just this whole plan of discipline and control that you guys came here with, do you think the pitches have suited them, or like have the pitches surprised you and you had to adjust anything?
I think at certain times it suits us. Headingley probably got a little bit better as the game went on to bat on. There was certainly times at Edgbaston as well. It was pretty. Not that I played that game, but it was a pretty good wicket for batting at certain stages. So I think it's you got to know when to attack and when to hold off, I guess. And when there's a partnership, you got to hold that holding pattern, really build pressure. And once you get that wicket, you can attack then. And I think it's just sensing the game and what circumstances are.
Have you had a discussion about DRS, how you guys going to use it, your process in terms of nailing that 15 seconds and making sure you get the right call?
Not as a group as yet, but I think obviously the skipper and a few other people have talked about it and had a good think about it. And we've obviously got a few days in Manchester now, and I'm sure we'll nut something out and get a plan together because there's room for improvement there, that's for sure. I think just not getting carried away with the moment in the game, having those plans and tick those boxes and whether we're going to go or whether we're not. So see how we go.
Nathan Lyon said that. I can't remember what the question is. No, Nathan Lyon said that the vibe in this group is as better than any group he's played in his 90 Test career. Is it an observation that you think's fair?
I agree with that, definitely. Not sure how it comes about or what, how it happens, but I guess it's just a good group of guys and everyone getting along with each other really well. As I said, a few of these guys have been here for a long time, World Cup into Ashes, so things can start to fray a little bit at the back end, but everyone's really switched on and focused on what the next task is, and great vibe in the group. Yeah.
Josh, have you been hit for many, if any, sixes in Test cricket before?
Been here for a few. I can't remember, to be honest.
Anything like that whirlwind though? I mean, what was going through your head when all that was going on?
I only bowled the one over, obviously, in that last probably hour and a half. So, it's a little bit, obviously, just feeling of one-day cricket, but you got a nice soft ball. The wicket's pretty good. We obviously spread the field. I think, we probably could have changed a few different things there. But there was some extraordinary hitting as well. So we had a few little chances there. I felt Nath was the biggest chance of getting a wicket, getting a catch somewhere. I didn't think any of the quicks really were going to get Stokes out, to be honest. I thought Gaz was a big chance. That's obviously why he bowled the most in that situation. But he played pretty well.
A couple went over your head too on the boundary. I mean, when you think they're coming to you. Did you feel like you were going to get him a couple of times too?
Occasionally. The ball just kept travelling. I think the big one was when Marnus was down there actually, and it sounded like a big miss hit out of the rough, and still went for 6. So pretty frustrating. But there's a few close moments there.
Have you as a bowling group just sat down, just you guys, and discussed what happened, or have you just
we always sit down after a game and talk about what we could have done better and what we could have done, what we did well as well. That's an important thing all the time, to discuss what you've done well. Because for probably 90%, 95% of that game, we bowled really well. So don't gloss over that either, and obviously talk about the things we could have done better, for sure.
On Mitch Starc, he's in terms of how he's developed over the tour. Has it been a little bit about attitude? Because obviously you guys generally would have sort of slightly different approaches in terms of how you approach your training and all that kind of stuff. You're boring, he likes to go for the wickets. Has it been bringing those two a bit closer together?
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's definitely worked on a lot of things in the nets, and I think we've seen it this game and at Worcester as well at certain times. And I think it's always how hard the guys work off the field, the 6 or 7 who aren't playing. That's great. That's a great measure of how the group's going. And they're always putting pressure on the guys who are playing in the 11. So if they're always up and about, it makes a huge difference. I think they can easily, you can easily mope around when you're not getting picked for such a long tour like this. And if they're really buzzing around, doing all the work away from the game, and then come out and perform in tour matches, the group's in a good place.
This is definitely the last one.
I just want to ask you about their middle order. I mean, if Roy goes down to 4, I mean, they got 4, 5, 6, and 7 are real big power hitters. I mean, given what Stokes did the other day, I mean, would you be expecting them to maybe, I suppose, take a more attacking plan to the bowlers now, having seen how it worked?
They could potentially. I mean, it's easy to do when you're in front of the game, or maybe when you've got nothing to lose, a bit like the last game. But I think they certainly got to play, or I think they might play their natural games a bit more now. They're great one-day players, but some are really good test players as well, as we've seen. And I think they've just got to find that balance. Same with any batsman, really. Their defence and attack. So I don't want to speak too much about batting, but yeah, I'll leave that up to them.